Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel, Do Ministry Gaming, and today I want to give you a 1-week update on my Toxic Rain Raider for the 3.14 League Start character. Now, this character has fulfilled and completed all of the goals and objectives that I set out to complete as a League Start character. And so I'm, for all intents and purposes, done playing this character, which is why I'm making this video now. It's actually the end of day 6, not even a week yet. The point of this character was to do the following. A, get me through the campaign. B, get me through the Atlas, and actually it was A5 was what I was targeting, but I ended up doing all 8. I killed Sirus 8 on this character, so I did a little bit more than even what I set out to do it with a relatively low budget. And to also create some extra additional currency that helps me set up for my next character. So all of these things have been completed on this character, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through my day-by-day progress, how much I spent, what content I was able to tackle on each of these days. So let's get right into it and talk about my journey, which is on the screen here. And I did play a Toxic Rain Raider. And so first of all, I got a lot of questions about why I picked Raider and not Pathfinder, which was what my build guide was on. And the only reason I picked Raider was because my second character, the elemental hit character I'm talking about, is going to start off as a Raider as well. So I decided to start Toxic Rain as a Raider so I didn't have to make the Ascendancy switch, which can be quite expensive early in the league. That is the only reason. I still think Pathfinder is a fantastic option even after the 3.14 area effect nerfs. And there's just a great quality of life to it that I very much value and miss. Quite frankly, I did kill Sirus 8 with this character, but it took a while, not because my damage was bad, but because I ran out of mana flasks. And when this character runs out of mana flasks, it really sucks. You're casting Toxic Rain once in a blue moon. And so having that sort of flask value, especially the way I use flasks, which is piano key nonstop, it's a quality of life that I absolutely love, and I still highly recommend a Pathfinder. I've said it before in my other videos and on stream before already. For Toxic Rain, all of the Ranger classes and Trickster are all viable. Doesn't really matter which you pick. They have their own pros and cons. No matter which one you go with, you are going to be fine. So don't worry too much about which one you end up with. Just pick the one that you prefer in terms of pros and cons. Now, the second is, yes, Toxic Rain was nerfed in 3.14. Why did I play it? Well, in 3.13, I practiced Toxic Rain as a League Star and had this plan to do Toxic Rain for the first week, accomplish all the goals that I mentioned before, which I did. And then I was going to smoothly transition into this elemental hit Raider turned Deadeye soon as well. And so that was always the plan. I practiced it, and then GGG nerfed it, and I said, screw it, let's play it anyway. In fact, let's find out. Let's find out if it's still a viable League Star or not, or did the nerf actually hurt the build enough that it's not even a good League Star at all. And I guess right away we can say, well, at least from my opinion, I think it's still very much a valid League start. You know, I did everything I needed to. It went fine. Yes, I did invest up to 8.5 Exiles, and I'll talk about it, which might be a little overkill. I spent a little bit more than I need to on some of the gear. But you know, it depends on what your definition of League Start is and what you're trying to accomplish for your League Start. I understand everybody has a different interpretation of what League Start is. From my interpretation, I accomplished everything I needed to quite smoothly. And you can see here I got through Sirus 8, killed Shaper. I didn't do Elder yet, but I'm pretty sure I can, and I'm on 8.5x investment total. And so, you know, I think it went well. Did it feel a little weaker than 3.13? I think it did. I do think there could be an impact at the end game though, but we don't know yet. I don't know yet, but I will make a separate video in a couple weeks where I do a full out end game, decked out, you know, end game gear, end game content video, because I have all the clips from 3.13 build guide highlight clips of all those bosses that you guys saw. And I'm going to take the exact same character with the exact same gear and exact same setup and I'm going to do all those kills again because that character is in standard. Do all those kills again in 3.14, and I'm going to try to put the clips side by side, and we're going to see if it takes longer to kill the boss, and if it does, how long. And hopefully we'll get a qualitative sense of how much the nerf was, and then also maybe try to make some adjustments if I need to like throw in conk effect or something and see what the impact of that is. So stay tuned for that video. It's probably going to come out maybe in 2 to 3 weeks because I do still want to progress in 3.14. I'm on a good track here. I got to make switch to my elemental hit. I want to play it for a few weeks heavily, and so I'm going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks first. So that's a lot of talking. We're going to go right into this chart here. This is basically a chart of my daily progress, how much I invested and what I bought for my upgrades and what content I was able to do for each of those days. So there's a chart, there's a graph form at the top and the chart form at the bottom. The graph is really just a visual representation of the table. So let's just talk about the table down here. I do have another video already put out for day 1 and 2 already, talking about that in pretty lots of detail, and so you can find that in the description below for a link to that video, but I'll summarize it here as well. Basically, day 1, with all the disconnects, you know, I was in front of the computer for 14 hours, but I only logged 7 hours of playtime, like many other people in the community as well, and so it was actually kind of sad and frustrating. And if you really think about it, it's kind of crazy because that means I sat for another 7 hours in front of the computer staring at a login screen and a queue. And so that doesn't even count rollbacks and stuff like that. And so, you know, that first day was tough. But we got through it, and we got through the game. We got through Act 10, and all I did was spend 1 chaos that first day to buy a Stormcloud bow, which I really didn't need, but I wanted to go faster, and so I bought the Stormcloud bow for 1 chaos. Then I went to bed, and the next day we were into the Atlas. And going into the Atlas, I did feel weak. And so I upgraded my gear. I upgraded to a 5-link. Oh, by the way, to get through to Act 10 was 4-link gear and the Stormcloud. Okay. So in day 2, I spent a total of 8 chaos on day 2. And between those 2 upgrades, I was able to get through the Atlas very nicely, and I got to tier 10 maps at the end of the second day there. I think I had like 11 or 12 Watchstones. Anyway, you can watch that video in the link in the description below. Then I went to bed. Day 3, I continued on with the exact same gear actually through to red tier maps, but then it started to feel I was dying a lot. I was only at like 3,700 life. And I started to die a lot in around tier 13, tier 14 maps. And so I spent another 5 chaos trying to get some more life. So I upgraded some rares to get some more life and some extra chaos resist as well. The life only gave me an extra like 200 life or something. It actually didn't really make much of a difference. And so I still struggled. I think day 3, well into those red tier maps. But then day 4, I really put some serious investment in. I said, okay, I've reached tier 14 to 16 maps. I was doing them, but I was dying a lot. And so I really needed that upgrade. And so day 4, I spent 316 chaos. I bought a 6-link Stormcloud, which only cost 20 chaos, by the way. A 6-link Stormcloud. I bought all my cluster jewels set up. I upgraded all my rares to accommodate for all the changes, but really it was the cluster jewels that cost a lot. And then with that, I was doing tier 14 and 16 maps damage wise quite nicely. I still felt a little weak dying wise. I still dying quite a bit, especially on tier 15, 16 maps. And I think after that upgrade, my life was up to like 4,200, 4,300 HP or something like that. And I still felt a little squishy. And I was still using a Carcass Jack at the time. And so I switched the day after. So a day after, I switched into a Belly of the Beast on day 5 to get 500 more life, actually, was what Belly of the Beast gave me. And so I was up to 4,800 life. I went and bought the 6-link plus 3 gems bow, which basically gave me a 70% damage increase from the Stormcloud bow, so it was a massive damage boost. And from that point on, I was cruising through tier 16 maps. It went quite smoothly. And then just today, day 6, I spent 40 chaos on some culling strike gloves to make my boss kills a little smoother. And today, day 6, everything went really well. I felt really comfortable, both damage wise and defense wise. I wasn't dying nearly as much as I was before. I was up to 5,200 life, I think, because I leveled a few times because I wasn't dying. And so everything worked out quite nicely. And right before this video, I killed Sirus 8. I killed the Shaper, and I had completed my Atlas. And so things went very well, and my total investment was 8.5 exalts. Like I say, I completed all my goals, right? I got my Sirus, my Shaper, my soon-to-be Elder kills as well. I've saved up a bunch of extra currency now that I can spend on my next character, which I'll talk about when we hop in game here in terms of how much I was able to make with this character. Even though I spent 8.5 exalts, I made way more currency than that just through this mapping process and getting through the game. I did spend a little bit more than I needed to on the 6 link plus 3 gems bow here. I think I could have spent 3.5x instead of 4.5x, but I bought one that had unnecessarily T1 crit chance, which does nothing for Toxic Rain. However, I'm going to be using the exact same bow for my elemental hit character, which will need the crit, and so I spent a little bit more doing that. The cluster jewels, I probably spent a little bit more than I need to as well because I just wanted them bought fast. I didn't really shop around. I just bought the first ones I could, and just tried to slam it all in as quickly as I could so I can continue to progress. And so that's kind of how my day-to-day progress went. And I guess I will hop in game real quick now to talk about a little bit about the currency situation and the gear that I'm actually using. All right, so we're in game now. Like I said, I accomplished my goals. I was able to get through the Atlas and kill Awakener 8 Sirus, which I just did. Dropped an Awakened Lightning gem that I sold already for 70 chaos, something like that. I killed the Shaper, dropped me a Dying Sun. Very happy about that. And so the content is done. I'm done with this League Start character. This is my definition of League Start. I made currency. Okay, so I spent 8.5x on my character, but I'm still sitting on 9 raw exalts, 650 chaos, a bunch of fusings, and jeweler orbs. I actually dropped a reliquary key, which I'll open on stream and my next stream here, which is tomorrow. And I also spent money already buying some elemental hit gear. I bought the Zoss Blood for 4.5x. This is about 5.5 exalts, 6x maybe of gear for my elemental hit, which means 6x there, 8.5x on my character, so that's 14, 9 here, 23, another 6, 29. I made about 30 exalts on this League Star character in the first week. I did have some trading strategies as well, which I talked about in my highlight video. You guys can go and check that out. So not all of it was coming strictly from mapping and progressing through the Atlas, but a lot of it was. And I'm done now. I'm ready to transition to my second character. And so as far as the gear goes, I'll just quickly go over the bow, a +3 bow gems gear, a lot of attack speed as much as I could. This is a T2 attack speed and T1 crit chance. Like I say, unnecessary for this character, but I bought it anyway for my next character. And you definitely want the chaos damage over time multiplier. You're gonna feel it, so you want a bow that where you can either craft it or already has it. I've got the 6 link here, which is the normal 6 link, except for this, I am running concentrated effect. Normally, you would run here if you have it and empower, and if you don't, an efficacy gem, okay? Now, I did run efficacy, which was blue gem, for a little bit. I decided to try the concentrated effect out, and I liked it, okay? Now, I want to be very clear here. I don't know if the damage is more because of the area effect change or if it's because the gem is just straight up more damage, okay? The efficacy gem is only like 29% more damage and some skill effect duration, which versus concentrated effect is actually 56% more damage. So it might just be that. I don't know if the area effect really or the less area effect is really having as much impact. It might be. I might be overlapping more pods. I don't know. I just know I'm doing more damage. I can feel it. And so I'm using it. And it's been going pretty well. So if you're on a 6th link and you're running efficacy right now and you're feeling a little weak, maybe give this a try. 21 cock effect right now is selling for pretty cheap. So I give that a try if you want. Otherwise, the helm is life resists int. Int was one that I really need to focus on. I'm rocking that belly of the beast. Like I said, I was doing carcass jack, but then I switched belly of the beast for the extra life. I got about 500 extra life switching to this, and I love having the more life versus the damage that the carcass jack gave me. I think carcass jack did give me a little bit more damage, but the life was very welcome because my main problem was dying, not really the damage. The gloves, I spent 40 chaos just on the last day here to buy some Calling Strike gloves because I knew I was doing some big bossing, and Calling Strike, always great. Next is the belt, life resists. Boots, life resists. Movement speed. Ring, life resists. Int again. I put int anywhere I could to get my int requirements. Quiver, this is the 20 damage over time multiplier quiver. I highly recommend getting one of these early. They're so cheap this league. You can get a damage over time multiplier quiver with life with a resist or 2 for 5C or less. I helped a couple of my viewers on stream shop for some. They're dirt cheap right now, so very much worth. Huge damage boost. And then my amulet, I got a little lucky. I killed a hunter. I dropped the base amulet, which was an 84 item level because the hunter was pretty high level. 84 item level hunter amulet. I saw a harvest and I chaos crafted it, I don't think 5 or 6 times, something like that. And I got lucky and I hit chaos damage over time multiplier and +1 chaos gems. So this was super lucky. Definitely adds to it, but you know, I think I can do all the content without this, but obviously this is a huge damage boost as well. So I got a little lucky there. So I wouldn't expect to be able to get this. This is pretty expensive. I think this amulet would probably cost 1.5x right now. So if you have the money, buy something like this. If not, I don't think you should worry too much about it. Try to get one or the other of the stats. And then the corruption anointment, get that as soon as you can. Okay, corruption is cheap. It's only crimson black black, which is way cheaper than any of the other damage over time multiplier anointments on the tree, which all require sort of golden oil. And so try corruption out if you're needing some quick, easy, cheap damage. I'm still running 4-link Caustic Arrow Totem, which I use once in a while still, but a lot less now with my Toxic Rain setup. I do still have the Wither Totem setup, of course, my Dash and Second Wind, just a Portal Gem, and then my Auras, which I'm running Malevolence and Skitterbots, and still with Profane Proxy. So, like I say, I'm done with this character technically now, but for those of you who are curious, if I were to continue to play the character, what would I do to it? Well, I would definitely replace the Profane Proxy with a Despair on Hit ring. What that's going to do is it's going to let me roll some life on the ring. It's going to let me roll some other stuff on the ring. It's going to let the Skitterbots chill again, which is a defensive layer. So there's a lot of pros to doing that, and that would be pretty much one of the next things I would do right away if I were to continue to play this character. I'd replace one of my flasks with a Dying Sun, which is +2 projectiles, right? So this flask is amazing, so I'd swap that in. And get all my gems to 20 quality. My gems are not 20 quality, they're all just level 20. I vaulted all of them when I could and got I bought the 21 Conk Effect, but you know, I did get a 21 Toxic Rain. Without quality, these are cheap as well. These are 40C 2 days ago, so I think they're probably way less than that. So get one of these. These are cheap. Only the quality ones are expensive. You know, that's about it. If I talk about the passive tree here, I'm running the 2 cluster setup now. Now, this works well if you're high level, okay? If you're lower level, you're going to lose out on a lot of life, and it might not feel so good. So what you can do is run a 1 large cluster, medium cluster setup, and run 1 large cluster, without the medium cluster setup, okay? And just put normal jewels in the medium cluster spots. That'll save you 8 or 10 passive skill points, which you can put in survivability, or if you're just 10 levels less than me. I didn't mention it. I'm level 92 now, because I actually stopped dying after a point. So it feels really good at 5200 life. All right, everybody. I think that's everything in terms of my League Start Toxic Rain character here. This is the end of day 6, and like I say, I'm really done with this character. I'm going to transition now. I've completed all of my League Start goals, which were kill the first Sirus, which is A5, which I did, and more. I killed Sirus 8. Kill Shaper, which I've done. Kill Elder, which I'll do before I go to sleep or first thing in the morning tomorrow before I transition. And build up a bunch of currency for my next character, which I've done as well. So I've completed all my goals. It went quite nicely still, even after the nerfs. And so from my personal opinion and my definition of what a League Start is, I do still think it is a viable League Start character even after the 3.14 nerfs. Now, a couple things on that, of course, like I say, is everyone's definition of what a viable League Start is different. So I'm not going to tell you whether it is for you or not, but you can take what I've done here and make a judgment for yourself as to how you feel about this still being a viable League Start or not, in terms of the investment and the progress that I made. And the other is the endgame stuff. I don't have a conclusion on how the nerfs have impacted the endgame DPS, but I will be doing a very specific analysis for that and video for that later in the league. So you can stay tuned and wait for that one and catch that if you're curious about endgame viability and how much the nerf has impacted the build. But otherwise, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please like and subscribe as usual. I also stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Times are in the description below. Come and hang out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.